Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Renee Edgehill-Smith, and I'm the leader for the IAC USA chapter. And we're here with our volunteers, Leo Gerlino and Rosalba Ruiz, who you'll be hearing from throughout the presentation here. And before we get started, we just want to say, everyone, please select your interpretation. Look for the globe on the symbol in the Zoom bar, the control bar, and just be ready, prepared for an interactive experience here today with our illustrious Brian French, and he has a lot to share with us. So I'm going to do exactly that, which is get started because he has a lot of information to share. So our guest for tonight, and we are excited about it, is Brian French. He is an IAC certified coach. He is also a member of the Board of Governors, and he is a coordinator for the IAC Global Sustainability Committee, and also the founder for Harmonious Coaching, I think it is. And he can correct me. But without any further delay, Brian French, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Renee. And I don't know if I've ever been called illustrious before, so I'm still grinning and blushing from that description. I would have never thought of myself as illustrious, but thank you for that. The book that you're referring to is Harmonic Leadership.
Harmonic.
So how to lead in a harmonic way. And when I think of sustainability, there's a lot of harmony there as well. When I named the book Harmonic Leadership, I obviously have a love of music, as you can see from the instruments behind me. And I also in the book relate it to nature. We have harmony in nature. We have harmony in music. And we can have harmony within our organizations and teams in the way that we lead. And leading effectively can increase that harmony. So that is the overall theme of the book. But it ties in really well with the sustainability work that we do as well, because definitely we need to seek harmony in all aspects of life and all aspects of nature. So that can be a part of our discussion today. So thank you all for being here. We have a smaller crowd, so I would love to just make this more of an informal conversation. I do have a flow that we'll be following if you're amenable to that. Renee asked if I could do some mindfulness exercises as part of this talk, because mindfulness also plays in quite nicely with the theme of sustainability. If we can be more mindful in our approach to the way that we view sustainability issues and needs, then we can have better intention in meeting those needs and addressing the issues. So we'll start off with a little centering exercise, and if you'll indulge me, I'll move over to the piano and have a little piano background music to that. And then we're going to talk about why sustainability coaching. Why are we doing the sustainability committee? Why do we have this team formed in order to equip our members to be able to better coach in the sustainability matters? Then we will discuss the team itself. Then we'll cover the UN Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 goals that the United Nations has put together that addresses basically all of the sustainability needs across the globe. So we'll spend some time looking at that. And then we'll get into our sustainability coaching toolkit, and we'll give you a preview. The team is working very hard behind the scenes to put this together, and I'm so happy that Catherine was able to be on with us today. Catherine has been an active participant in our sustainability team and has been providing input into the sustainability coaching toolkit. So we'll give you a little preview of that. And I do have a handout that I can share also of some resources that we're beginning to put together. It's not in final form, but it would at least give you something to walk away with today. And then we'll see how much time we have left after that. So how does that sound? Good. I see some thumbs up, and you're on mute, Renee. I see your mouth moving. But
I said, I'm excited. I cannot wait.
Well, good. Well, let's get started. So I'm going to switch cameras, switch microphones, and I'll see you over at the piano.
All right, this is awesome. Yes.
All right. Can you hear me okay over here? Yes. Okay, good. So I wrote that little piece a few years ago, and I call it Nature and Life. And I've used it in some videos that I've made. And it's just when I wrote it, I was thinking of all of the time that I spend outside. I'm very biophilic. It's a term that we use in sustainability, and it's just our connection with nature. And people, due to our history, due to our background, due to our genetic makeup, we have a natural biophilia where we are connected to nature, whether we know it or not. And when we spend time in nature, it provides us that connection. And that connection can be the inroad into thinking of sustainability. So I'm going to invite you now to get into more of a meditative state. It may help to close your eyes. And when people hear the word meditation or meditate, all it means is thinking deeply or focusing one's mind for a period of time. That's the core definition of meditation. Meditation is used around the world in all sorts of settings by all sorts of people, some in religious settings, others in other settings, and we can use the tool of meditation in order to make a deeper connection. So I'll invite you to close your eyes, find a comfortable position as I play softly in the background. I'll invite you to think about a place in nature where you feel very connected to nature. Could be taking a walk in a favorite park. Could even be in your backyard. Could be at a beach somewhere that you've been to and you love. Could be in the woods. Could be sitting in the snow. And as I sit silent and just play softly, I'll invite you to envision yourself in that place where you felt that connection. Okay, I'll invite you to open your eyes now and re-engage with the group as I head back over to the other microphone. Were you able to hear that okay? Okay, good. Good. So I would love to hear what place did you think of where you feel that strong connection with nature? Who'd like to share?
I can share. I went to, there's a park that I walk in, Little Mulberry Park here in Georgia, and it has like a brook. It has water. It has
Hmm.
a lake and it has a brook. Like you could see, it runs throughout the entire park. And there are some places where the water is running over the rocks and stuff. And I love that sound. And that's where I went. And yeah, it was wonderful, really.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Renee. Others, where did you meditate in?
Well, I'll speak up.
Hmm.
I was actually in between a previous meeting and our meeting, managed to get outside on this renewed wintry day here. We just got 4 inches of snow. And along my walk, there's a lake, and I paused there because two trumpeter swans have returned to our lake for the summer.
Oh,
And the swans have been showing up for me quite a bit in different places, waters in the last couple of weeks. And I love the symbolism. I love their gracefulness,
yeah.
their calm demeanor. It's just a really lovely sense of connection, and in the beautiful surroundings that they were swimming around in, the little bit of open water still that had frozen over is just, yeah, they're very close to me right now.
Good. Yeah, thanks
Very
for
close to
sharing,
them, I
Catherine.
guess.
And I was thinking of you when I said, or sitting in the snow.
Yeah,
So I thought you
you can't
probably
see
had
it out
snow on the
here.
ground.
And
Good.
Leo said that he could relax. He could get relaxed.
Good. Good. Thank you, Leo. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, music does create that connection with nature as well. And I like to start off these kinds of talks with inviting you to go to that place in nature in your mind, because people often wonder about why should we even consider integrating sustainability into our coaching practice? And it's because of what we just did. We are connected to the earth, and unfortunately, if things continue the way they're going, we might not have the same opportunity to experience the earth in those connecting ways. When I was born in 1964, the global population was 3.26 billion. Now it's 8 billion. In 1964, when I was born, the carbon dioxide parts per million was 320 parts per million. Now it's 416 parts per million. That's a 97 parts per million increase. The previous 59 years, there was only a 21% increase, or 21 ppm increase. So everything is increasing exponentially, and that trend is continuing until or unless we're able to turn it around as a global population. Since 1970, there's been a 68% decrease in the animal population on Earth. And Catherine shared that wonderful story about the swans. We have lost a lot of the animals that have inhabited the Earth due to the effects of climate change, due to the effects of overpopulation in certain areas, lack of conservation in other areas. There's a group that puts together what's called the Earth Overshoot Day. And what they have done is extrapolate data to show at what point in the year are we overshooting or using up the amount of available resources that the Earth can naturally renew in a given year. And the first year that we overshot the amount that the Earth can renew was 1971. I was 7 years old. And we overshot it just by a few days. It was December 25th of that year. So at that point on December 25th, the Earth was not able to renew enough resources that we had utilized or used up. But that date has been moving forward ever since. In 2023, that date was August 2nd. So as of August 2nd last year, we, the global population, had used up all of the available renewable resources that the Earth can renew within a given year. And that trend just continues. There was a brief respite in 2020 during COVID when not as much burning of fossil fuels was taking place. But even then, it was August 16th was the day of the overshoot. So we have this continuing situation where we're utilizing more resources than the Earth can renew for us. Another reason for focusing on sustainability is that 700 million people around the world live in extreme abject poverty, living on less than $2.15 USD equivalent per day. And that's 8.7% of the world's people. And sadly, 333 million of those are children. So we have all of these things that add up that need to be addressed, and they can be addressed through focusing on sustainability. So that is why we do what we do, and that is why we are endeavoring to create this resource and this team that can support all of our coaches around the world who choose to work in this space, who choose to incorporate this into their coaching practice. And I will give a qualifier up front that this is optional. Everyone has their own choice to make on how they utilize the information, to what level or extent they utilize the information, to what level or extent they choose and decide to focus on sustainability within their coaching practice. It's a very personal decision, but we can collectively work together in order to help the world to be more sustainable. And when you think of sustainability, I've often used this analogy. I have a very dark office because I do music in here, so it's fairly soundproof. I don't have a window, it's covered up, but I like to have some greenery. So this plant was my greenery. It's it's not doing too well right now because this plant is very easy to take care of. Supposedly it's a succulent and it only needed to be watered once per month. But guess what? I missed a couple of months and this plant is no longer. You can see what used to be a very tall plant has shriveled and died. So I replaced it with this plant that is thriving because I'm doing a much better job of watering this plant. But I keep this one here as my reminder of the sustainability needs of this creature, of this plant. And if I do not focus enough and take care of it, this plant will end up like the one that I allowed to die. And it's a little microcosm of all of the things that we talk about within the sustainability space. It takes intention, it takes effort, it takes focus in order for us to take care of the things that are in our care. And as human beings on the earth, we are in charge of caring for the earth. So this is why we do the things we do. And we can each do personal things. I personally do a lot of things that I won't bore you with, but we drive an electric car. I'm a vegetarian, don't eat anything that has synthetic chemical preservatives in it. I use a manual lawnmower instead of a gasoline operated lawnmower. I compost and garden. I limit single-use plastics as much as I possibly can, recycle all that I can, use canvas shopping bags, and even the bulk items put into canvas bags, reusable bags. Try not to use any chemicals for cleaning. Instead, we use vinegar. I air dry my clothes so I don't have to run the dryer. Only use natural soap so we don't put a lot of extra chemicals into the water table. So I do a lot of things personally, but I know that I could do more. And even with all I do, I know it's not going to make a huge dent, but it does make me feel like I'm helping the greater cause. But even when we're doing our individual things, we can collectively make huge differences with even small changes. Professionally, we can do a lot as well. So even if we don't do anything in personal life, if we focus on sustainability matters within professional settings, we can equip people to explore how their leadership affects the broader systems that influence the elements of ESG. That's environmental, social, and governance. And we hear the term ESG used a lot in the business space. We'll dive into it a little bit, but the overall view of it is that if a business focuses on environmental matters, making sure that their businesses are not harming the environment and ultimately, hopefully, helping the environment, If they focus on the social issues, ensuring that we have adequate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, that we are meeting the social needs of our employees, clients, customers, and the greater world. And governance, meaning that we have adequate governance in place within the organization in order to properly support the efforts within ESG and the greater needs of the world. And if we as coaches can help our coachees who are in organizations to better understand, to be more aware, and ultimately to support those programs, that's how we can make a huge impact around the world. Through my teaching, speaking, and coaching work, I strive to help people to do this. And I have a very simple view that I use. And I'm going to paste it in the chat box here. And for those not able to see the chat box or watching the recording, I'll read it out to you. So there's 3 simple frameworks or steps. First is to be aware. Next is to be informed, and last is to be engaged. So we can be aware of the needs, we can be informed on the impact, and then engaged in the solutions. And if we can increase our focus in those areas and create that awareness within our clients, then they can do amazing things, and we can help them, support them to do amazing things that ultimately work to serve the world in better ways, while still making a profit, while still reaching the organizational goals. So that's the balancing act, maintaining the values and ethics that we adhere to through our IAC certification, while still creating the invitation to explore the impacts of the world and develop solutions, and help equip our clients to develop solutions. And language is important. I'm involved in a lot of different groups where we talk about this, and there's still a lot of confusion out there because people think that when we consider coaching in sustainability space, people think that we're intending to impose our value system on our clients, but that's not the case at all. We are not focusing on imposing, on influencing or inserting our values or belief system. We're instead inviting, engaging, and enabling the client to self-explore, to find their way. And there may be some opportunities to educate when specifically asked, and that can be appropriate as well. So I'm going to stop there, pause, and see if you have any questions or any thoughts you'd like to add.
I have a question. I wanted to, as you were speaking, you were talking about working with your client. Can you give like some examples of how you would incorporate the sustainability, even the possibility of what they can do to help, maintain or sustain our environment in a session? How would you even bring that up in a session?
Yeah, great question, Renee. And I'll be sharing some tools later that can better explain it. But the short answer is looking for any opportunities that can lead to the deeper conversation. So oftentimes in a coaching conversation, I mainly work in the executive space, or at least the leadership space within organizations at all levels. But most of my one-on-one coaching, long-term coaching work is with higher levels, VP and above within organizations. And oftentimes we have subtle openings in conversations where it can be appropriate to ask a follow-up question that invites them to dig deeper about the broader impact. When we talk about organizational effectiveness and goal setting and things that they are planning to do within the business in order to ultimately make more profit in their minds, we can ask, how does that affect the greater systems that you interact with? How does that affect your suppliers? How does that affect your customers? And what systems will be touched by the work that you're doing? And when they start exploring that and how those systems are going to be touched or affected, that can lead to openings to say, is that supporting the greater needs of those external systems, or could it be degrading those external systems to the point where they would no longer be sustainable. And that can lead to then more thought and more questions about ultimately, when we consider any work that is done, we are affecting systems that ultimately get to the point of earth and people.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great. So I like to share a little analogy that I call the garden analogy, because here again, people sometimes struggle with, why would we do this? Isn't it even against the coaching mentality to try to bring people to a place where they're not initially naturally going? And when I think about it, how to answer that, I think of a garden analogy. So let's say that my job as a coach is to help a client to create, plant, and manage a garden, a vegetable garden. And ultimately it's for their use, for sustenance, to get food. And when I'm coaching, then I'm going to be helping the client in creating awareness of the needs of the garden, informed on the skills and requirements of managing the garden, and engaged in actively tending the garden so vegetables can be grown. So my job as a coach is to help them to understand what needs to be done to ensure that garden will be profitable in providing them with food. But if I, as a coach, see a behavior or an action that is causing danger to the garden, where the crops will be harmed and not able to yield produce, I am compelled to bring this to their awareness so the crops can be saved, and so the person can be sustained by the food produced. So in a leadership coaching situation, if they're using a behavior that is causing damage to themselves and their team and causing their leadership to derail, let's say they're displaying harmful biases and discrimination, then I'm compelled to bring this to their awareness, often done through assessments, 360-degree feedback, questioning techniques, and others. So we can extrapolate those scenarios, those analogies, to sustainability coaching, where we can consider the broader systems that their leadership touches. And if there are actions or behaviors that are noticeably causing a danger for themselves and others, including future generations, then I can still feel compelled as a coach to bring it to their awareness and appropriately invite them to explore the impacts. So hopefully that helps to answer the question as well, Renee. There is that obvious balance. There's almost a bit of tension. There's a line that we need to make sure we're not crossing, where it could feel like we're imposing personal values, but it can be appropriate to invite them to explore how their values relate to the work that they do and relate to the broader needs of the world. So, yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I like the way that you shared with us the analogy of planting a garden and then made the parallel to their lives. And I think that that's very unique and really interesting. So how would a coach know to do things like that? In other words, is there a program or is there training where they can get to help them to put that in their toolkit for their sessions, for them to incorporate?
Yeah, great question. And I will be sharing a preview of the toolkit that we've been working on that will provide some of that information. But I'll share now, though, that we're being very careful to not make this too prescriptive, where we say do this, then that, then the other thing, because it is so dependent on the client. It's so dependent on the situation. It's so dependent on the coach's knowledge and ability to effectively guide the person in those conversations. So there's not a quick, easy fix or a quick, easy way to do it, but there are some tools out there to invite the discussion, to invite the consideration. So I'll be sharing some of those a bit later. I thought could be helpful now to just share a little bit about the team itself, the IAC Sustainability Team. We started the team on January 24th of 2023. So we've been in existence a little over a year. And we started with a core team of Anjali Nair, who I'm sure you all know is our IAC past president, Martha Pasternak, our IAC treasurer, Charlie Marshall Nunu, who is our IAC Africa regional coordinator, and myself. So we four were the original people who started. As I mentioned earlier, Catherine has been involved as well in helping us to review documents. And Catherine, you described yourself at one point, I'm trying to remember the phrase you used, a something supporter.
A friend of the sustainability team.
A friend of the sustainability team. Thank you. Thank you. A strong supporter and a strong inputter as well to help us to clarify thoughts. So it's very, very valuable. And since the original formation, we've also had two new members join, Ritu Mature, who's on the Board of Governors, and Olafunke Dina, who's a new member and is in graduate school in the States studying environmental concerns. So it's great to have Ulafunka on the team as well. And we have others. Gillian has been a strong supporter. He's attended some of the events. Gillian, our current president, and it's been great to have his support as well. So we kicked off in January of 2023. And when we kicked off, we originally were focusing on climate action. We as an organization have been involved in climate work for a number of years. And if you go out and watch any of the videos that are on our sustainability page on the IAC website, you can hear and read about that history. So in 2019, we became a signatory on the JGSG, the Joint Global Statement Group for Climate Change, that was started by a number of coaching organizations, coaching certification organizations, to increase the awareness of coaches to the needs and to open up thoughts on how we as coaches could help with these broader sustainability efforts. Before 2019, there was nothing formalized in the space. A number of coaches were working in the space, but we did not have any formalized groups that regularly gathered to discuss this. Shortly after that formation, another group formed, and that's called the Climate Coaching Alliance. And now they have over 3,000 members around the world. And we are partners with them as well. So we serve as members on the JGSG, and Anjali and I represent us. And then we partner with the Climate Coaching Alliance to help them with their programming occasionally, to support them, to share their message with our membership. So collectively, all of what is now 11 organizations involved in the JGSG and who are partners with the Climate Coaching Alliance, collectively we are spreading word around the world on how we as coaches can engage in sustainability coaching. So let me share this screen. I wanted to share first of all, our IAC sustainability page that we have on the website. So you can go out to our main website page, click or hover over about and choose sustainability, which brings you to this page. And on this page, you're going to see some of the background of how our little team came to be. You can see many links to other sites that can provide a lot of information. There's information on how our IAC masteries, the coaching masteries, relate to sustainability. A little bit about how we formed, why we chose to look past climate change to be more inclusive. In that first meeting, it became evident that much of our conversation was going beyond just the thought of climate to the broader needs of the world that are represented by the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that have been outlined by the United Nations in 2015. So there's links to what those goals are. There's links to the 2030 agenda. So each year the United Nations, puts out a report on how we are progressing towards those 17 goals. And that is viewable through the 2030 agenda. So each of the 17 goals have a number of sub-goals on how the 17 can be reached. It talks about our commitment to sustainability, and not just equipping our coaches, not just being a representative on the JGSG and the CCA, but also internal processes. There are times where we appropriately say, is that the most sustainable way to do this? And that becomes part of the conversation. And then there are links to many of our initial webinars that we had produced, where we provided the initial information. Also, there are links to the webinars that we do along with other JGSG representatives that are called roundtables that we've been involved in a few of those as well. So I do invite everyone to go out to that page to learn more. All right. Well, I know that I need to about halfway through turn it back over to Renee for a commercial, I believe. So Renee, you want to give the commercial?
Sure. So the chapter, we would like to just inform you of our next event, which is where our next Power Hour will be held on April 18th. And our speaker is Linda Ariano, and she will be discussing creative coaching and possibilities. Not them both, but also them together and separately. That's the better way to say that. Also, and I'm sorry, I'm just like, I should have shared the whole. And our next chapter meeting is on March 29th, and it is at 5:30. And our membership meetings are usually the fourth Friday of every month. And lastly, we need volunteers. We are asking anyone that is in the U.S. Or connected to the U.S. that become a volunteer. Help us to do exactly everything that we're doing, even our power hours and our missions that we have for our goals and objectives that we have for the state, for our chapter. And we'd like to have more hands on the plow and more ideas. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to you, Brian. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Renee, and I love the visual of hands on the plow. We lived in the country for most of my adult life until my health issues got to the point where I could no longer support the needs of the farm, but that also created my strong sense of biophilia, of that connection to the earth. Because when you're raising crops, when you're raising animals, it definitely creates that strong connection and that strong desire to protect the natural resources that we have available to us. So I thought it'd be good now to just share what the 17 Sustainable Development Goals are. So this is from the United Nations website. And in the guide that I'll be sharing a bit later, there's a link to this. And you also notice that there's a link from the sustainability page. In 2015, the United Nations came together, and our own Charlie Marshall Nunu was there. He helped to form some of these goals with the committees that he works on, and he does a lot of work with the United Nations. So he's been an invaluable member of the team to help inform us on the behind-the-scenes workings of the UN and how so many people around the globe are working to support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and better understand how we as coaches can help them in their work. So the 17 goals, as we see listed here, are no poverty. And when you hover it, obviously loads more information. So I'll try not to hover, but no poverty, zero hunger, good wealth and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and partnerships for the goals. So those are the 17. And as mentioned, when we had our initial meeting of the sustainability team, initially planning on focusing just on goal 13, the climate action, because of our previous commitments to the JGSG and the CCA, as we're discussing, and Charlie is talking about what he's seeing across the African continent, where he does so much of his work, as Anjali is sharing about the conditions in India, as Martha is talking about the indigenous peoples who she is so close to within the United States, and as I'm sharing about the work that I do around the world, it just became clear quickly that we have an opportunity to look past climate change to address all 17 of the goals, because they're interconnected. When you look at what's happening with climate and the effects of climate change, consider how it's affecting increased poverty. Consider how it's affecting hunger. Consider how it's affecting health and well-being, including mental well-being, quality education. It touches all of these. So there's so much interconnectedness. And when you, if you choose to go out and watch some of the videos of our earlier sessions, we talk about the interconnectedness of the 17 goals. So that is why we expanded our focus at that early formation phase of the committee to decide to focus on the 17. And while I'm sharing the screen, I'll go ahead and share a couple of the other links here for you. So the Joint Global Statement Group on Climate and Eco-Diversity Crisis page has a lot of additional resources as well. This is linked to from our sustainability page. I mentioned the Earth Overshoot Day earlier. The document I'll share here in just a moment includes a link to this as well, where you see that since they started mapping it in 1971, where the Earth Overshoot Day was December 25th, you can see the trends. And yes, some years are better than others, but there's the general trend going down or moving forward in time to what is now August 2nd. And you can see the little spike here on 2020 when we did not burn as many fossil fuels around the globe. But it's obviously concerning because we're overutilizing the Earth's resources to the point now where it takes 1.7 Earths in order to sustain us with the way we are globally living. And granted, some countries, some states do better than others. So here within this site, you're going to find information on the various countries and how the various countries are doing on their Earth Overshoot Days. I also wanted to show the Climate Coaching Alliance page here, and we link to this page and also to the Echo Phase Cycle from the document that I'll share with you, which will be a part of the coaching toolkit when we launch it. And this model was created by Dr. Peter Hawkins, and we've worked with him. He's on one of the videos, the early videos that webinars that we did, and he was part of our Quo Vadis coaching which would have been 2022 before we formally launched the committee, but we knew that we were going to be launching it. And it was one of the JGSG sessions that Dr. Hawkins worked on. But he created this view of how we can view ourselves and how we can help our clients view themselves within ecology and the needs of ecology. And it's presented in a circle to invite people to think in that circular nature, generally starting though with curious in the bottom right, and then moving to informed, to aware, to engaged, and finally to actively working within the space. But there's a lot of great information here. Anyone who's interested in sustainability coaching, I strongly suggest you become a member. It's a free membership. All of the resources are available for free, with the exception of a book that they published, which has become known as the Guidebook on Climate Coaching. But even with purchasing the book, all of the proceeds go to charity to support the cause. Any questions about the website or comments?
I have to say that when you showed the page with all the different topics, and now seeing this book, I think that there's a lot of information out there for us to become more aware. You talked about you speak in terms, you want us to think in that circular fashion. And I know for me, I might be speaking a little premature. You might want this after a little later, but for me, I was curious at first. And now I feel that I am informed, more informed than I've ever been. And you've made a connection for me. And now I'm aware and I want to know how I can become more engaged in this effort. So that's where I am on the circle, and wanting to bring it to our chapter because I think, the connection is really, I mean, so clear that we really should be focusing some energy and effort in this movement, this initiative. So hopefully we can, after today, even though our chapter is a little small, have conversation about what we think we can do and how we can contribute and show that we are moving forward and joining in this initiative. So I want to thank you for that.
Brian, estás en mute. You are.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. And I was just sharing a thank you to Renee for the comments, and that it's a great transition to now share a preview of the sustainability toolkit. This is very much in draft mode, but I thought you may enjoy just saying what we're putting together. It's a number of pages of information, some of which is mirrored on the website, but there's a lot of additional information. So we tie in the coaching masteries, we tie in our values and how that relates to our sustainability coaching opportunities. We tie in the ethics. We provide some sample coaching questions to get us started. There's a lot of learning and resource links, including the videos that I just mentioned that you can view from the sustainability page. And then there's a long list of additional resources. And I did split these out into a separate document that I just posted in the chat box if you would like to go ahead and download that by clicking on it, and it should open, or you have an opportunity to click the little 3-dot button to the right and say save as, so you can download it to your desktop. And on this, when you click the links, you're going to go to many of the sites that I've already shared, plus a lot of additional sites. There's a great tool called Neil's Wheel, and you may have heard of a life wheel before that's used throughout coaching. This one is more specific to how our life relates to the ecology and the sustainability needs that we have in the world. I included a little tool that I'd put together called the Balanced Mindful Caring Model that provides you a way of analyzing where you're placing your focused energy in support of other individuals, in support of the groups, in support of the work, and in support of the self. And then the invitation is to draw a circle around this and consider the broader systems, the needs of the earth, of the people and the planet, all of those systems that we end up touching. So there's some great information here. Here's the link to the Earth Overshoot Day as well. So you have that available to you in the chat box. We also include the information on the sustainable development goals. And we include a section that just talks about, let me get up to the beginning of it. So if you are working within businesses, within organizations, it gives you a primer, a beginning view of how corporate social responsibility plays into sustainability, and how environmental, social, and governance plays into the broader role of sustainability. So there's information on how the term's formed, what it means, where it comes from, some areas that you can discuss with your client in terms of having them explore what they're currently doing. And then we wanted to provide a glossary of terms, because there are thousands of terms out there in the sustainability space. And I frankly started writing the main ones out, and it quickly got to the point where it was going to be too long. So instead of doing that, we're instead pointing you to a number of nonprofit sites out there where you can get a lot of additional terminology that you can add to your vocabulary. So that's how that's shaping up. And as mentioned, I split out the list of resources. This could grow. It will likely grow before we finalize the document. But I thought it would be fine to go ahead and share this with you so you could start your exploration into sustainability. So please grab that from the chat box. All right, well, we are close to time, so I thought I would see if you have any questions, any comments, and then we could wrap up with an actual mindfulness meditation. What questions?
I don't want to be the only one to ask questions before I ask my question, because I do have one. Does anyone else have a question that they'd like to ask? So I'll ask my question. So with everything that you've shared, where would you suggest or recommend someone that wanted to get started, getting they're putting their toe in the water in regards to sustainability? Where would you tell them to get started?
Yeah, a wonderful question, Renee. And to get started, visit our sustainability page on the IAC website, explore the links, join the CCA, the Climate Coaching Alliance, start attending some of those sessions. Keep an eye out when we send an email out that has the sustainability team header, and attend the webinars that we are doing or that we're promoting for the JGSG and or the Climate Coaching Alliance. And once you start attending some of these sessions and getting in conversation with others who are often struggling with the same questions that we struggle with, but are also starting to put their toe in the water, as you say, to start to incorporate sustainability into the coaching practice. And then there are a number of experts in the field who regularly attend these. So when you have breakout rooms in those sessions, you're often sitting with someone who is actively engaged in the work already. And that is a wonderful way to learn. And then I've alluded to the Sustainability Coaching Toolkit that we're putting together. We will be launching that in August at the Learning Circle that occurs that month. So stay tuned until August, attend that session where you will be able to receive the full toolkit. It will also be posted in the members area for all IAC members to grab from there as well.
Okay, thank you. And before we do the meditation, can I say thanks to all of our participants today? I also would like to say thank you to Catherine Miller, who is on the Board of Governors as well. And I have to tell you, Brian, you really gave us our gourmet meal today.
Oh,
And those that were not here, they truly missed out.
well, thank you.
I was just like, just not knowing what to expect, but from the onset, when you started, you just took us, like, you showed us all the stars, the constellations and everything. So just want to say thank you very much. And before you go, Rosalba, you want to say words for us before we do the meditation? Because Brian's going to close us out.
Gracias, Brian, por invitarnos a hacer conciencia. Desde el inicio hablaste de que la sostenibilidad es armónica, que se parece a la música, que se parece al liderazgo. Y luego nos invitaste a profundizar a través de un ejercicio que nos conectó justo con la naturaleza, en ese sentir, en esa biofilia que todos tenemos, esa conexión innata con la naturaleza. Luego nos invitaste a escudriñar las 17 metas de la Organización de Naciones Unidas y cuán importante es conocer de la sustentabilidad, de la sostenibilidad y cómo podemos nosotros hacer mayor conciencia desde la práctica del coaching utilizando y invitando a nuestros clientes a espacios profundos de conversación acerca de una realidad que nos atañe, que nos afecta. Es increíble cómo pudiste darnos la información de del esfuerzo que está haciendo la Tierra para renovar recursos versus el, am, el comportamiento que tenemos los seres humanos para con ella, ¿no? Debemos trabajar para apoyar desde el coaching y agregar la sostenibilidad al tema, al punto central. Y me gustó mucho cuando dijiste, debemos tener conciencia, estar informados y estar comprometidos a hacer los cambios. Ayudar como coaches a que los clientes también puedan eh, exhortarlos a que puedan participar, a incorporar la sustentabilidad dentro del coaching, buscando encontrar conversaciones mucho más profundas. Gracias por darnos también la manera de poder conectarnos, gracias a la pregunta que te hizo eh, en este momento René. Bueno, ¿cómo podemos incorporarnos? Entonces, visita la página web de la IAC, unirse a la página de sustentabilidad y participar en algunas actividades. De manera que gracias de verdad, Brian, Lowell, French, por abrirnos la conciencia y hacernos ah, más conscientes de la realidad que estamos viviendo y desde dónde nosotros podemos apoyar a la tierra, siendo mayor conciencia, siendo más conscientes de lo que estamos haciendo día a día con la tierra, con lo que consumimos, con lo que hacemos y con lo que somos. Gracias, Brian, por este regalo.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rosalba. Good. Well, let's, yes, Catherine.
I just wanted to put in a little plug here too, that you'll find when you, with this new frame of looking at things and in conjunction with your coaching, I invite you to take a look again at the coaching masteries, because I think you're going to see how beautifully they support this work. You know, yeah, so I just want to give you that sort of perspective as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Catherine, very much. And when we do publish the Sustainability Toolkit, you will see some of that reflection within there, where we post the coaching mastery. We ask a question to have you consider how it relates, and then provide just a little brief information on how that can be considered within the coaching framework and the coaching discussions with your clients. So, wonderful. Well, let's, I see we're technically at time, but we got started a couple of minutes late. So we'll do a very short little meditation to close us out. So again, I'll invite you to just find a comfortable position. And if you're new to the act of meditation, it's very simple. We're simply focusing our minds for a period of time, and it can help to close our eyes just so it can lessen distractions. You don't have to. If you choose not to close your eyes, you might just lower your gaze so you're not distracted by the screen. So if you'd like to find a comfortable sitting position, close your eyes or lower your gaze. And when we do a mindfulness meditation, we often start with the breath. Simply breathing, but instead of simply breathing, we're also paying attention to the breath. So as you breathe in through your mouth, through your nose, feeling the air, considering how the air is entering into your nose and mouth, going down through your trachea and filling your lungs. So take a few breaths and concentrate on the act of breathing. By focusing on our breath, it brings us into the present moment. Our minds tend to race. We tend to think of what was and what may be coming. And we can easily lose sight of the present moment in time. But that present moment is a gift. Each moment that we experience on this earth is a gift. And as we take our breaths and concentrate on the act of breathing, we can be grateful for the clean air that we have to breathe, that rejuvenates our body, taking the oxygen into our bloodstream that reaches every single point in our body to keep us alive, to keep us healthy. Releasing in our exhalation the carbon dioxide that then has a symbiotic relationship with the plants that absorb that carbon dioxide, that process it, that gives them strength, that gives them growth, for them to return to us clean oxygen. And as we consider this symbiosis with our plants, our trees, our grass, all parts of the earth, systems that go through photosynthesis to create this wonderful cycle of receiving carbon dioxide and giving oxygen. I'll invite you to rest for a moment in that gratefulness of that wonderful relationship. As we now close out our meditation with 3 deep breaths, paying close attention again to the process of the breath. Perhaps putting a hand on your chest to feel your chest rise with the inhalation and fall with the exhalation. Recognizing and appreciating this present moment in time. So I'll invite you now to slowly open your eyes, re-engage with the group. Hopefully that was calming to you. Hopefully it created some connection with the topic and deep-seated the topic in our minds. So thank you all very much for having me. It's been a wonderful session. Appreciate the attention, appreciate the insightful questions. And please reach out if I can help in any way, if I can help to inform. If you'd like to get involved in the team, the committee, please let me know. We would love to have additional members.
Thank you. And I think I'd like to have you come back and speak at another Power Hour and present something on a deeper level. This was really powerful, and I want to say thank you. And again, even the meditation that we just did, and the things that you shared and had us connected to thinking about the grass, thinking about the trees, thinking, I mean, we just go about our everyday just doing us and what we do. And that just brought it right in our faces where we're like, we have to be grateful for that because those are things that sustain us, you know, And we need to do the favor and sustain and continue to sustain them. So again, I'm grateful and just really in awe because you did an awesome, I mean, you shared so much with us and it was very informative and very inspiring. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. You're very kind.
And
Thank you all.
I would like to say thank you to our support team, Oswaldo, Mario, and Juan. Thank you. And thank you for everyone that is here. Rosalba, your hand was up. No? So if we can we take a picture before we go?
Oh, that'd be great.
Uh-oh. Get out of here. Okay. Okay, I got it. Thank
Got
you.
it? Okay, great. Be well,
Hope-
everyone.
And hope to see everyone again at our next Power Hour. So be well. Take care.
Wonderful.
National
Thank you.
Association of Coaching.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian.
Home of the Coaching Masteries.